Hello student, today I am going to discuss the absorption of nutrient. Absorption is the process by which the end product of digestion pass through the intestinal epithelium and enters in the bloodstream. Now the absorption of carbohydrate. End product of carbohydrate digestions are all monosaccharides such as glucose, galactose, xylose, and a small portion other disaccharides are absorbed. Duodenum and jejunum are the site of maximum absorptions of carbohydrates. Now the process of absorption of carbohydrate through two methods. First one is the simple diffusion and second one is the active transport. The glucose absorption occurs in a co-transport mode and is accompanied with the active transport of sodium. The sodium dependent glucose transport is responsible for the co-transport of the carbohydrate. The active transport of sodium ions from the basolateral membrane of the intestinal cells into the blood occurs first. The low concentration of sodium inside the cells causes movement of sodium from lumen into the cells through the bus border along the concentration gradient by the secondary active transport. Sodium moves along with glucose inside the cells and GLUT2 causes transport of glucose via interstitium into the blood. Fructose is transported via facilitated diffusion through intestinal epithelium by GLUT4 and GLUT5. Maximum rate of glucose absorption from the intestine is about 120 grams per hour. Rate of absorption of monosaccharides is variable. So fastest with glucose and galactose, intermediate with fructose, and slowest with mannose or pentose. Now factor affecting rate of glucose absorption from intestine. Any damage in mucous membrane of a small intestine causes decrease in glucose absorption. Examples: diarrhea, excision of a small intestine, etc. Now, some hormones affecting the uh, digestion of carbohydrate. First one is the thyroids. Thyroxine affecting directly on intestine mucosa, so increase the absorption. Therefore, in hypothyroidism, absorption decreases, and in hyperthyroidism, absorption of carbohydrate increases. Next, anterior pituitary. Anterior pituitary hormones affects glucose absorption by influencing thyroid gland. Adrenal cortex deficiency. It decreases sodium concentration, therefore decreases glucose absorption. Next, insulin. It's no effect on absorption of glucose from the GIT. Now, absorption of protein. The proteins are absorbed in form of dipeptides, tripeptides, and amino acids. The amino acid and peptides are transported by 7 types of transport system. The sodium ions are involved in the co-transport in 5 of these and 2 requires chloride ion. The energy for this transport is mediated via sodium co-transport mechanism. Example: sodium amino co-transport mechanism. The amino acids or peptides along with sodium carried to inside the cells through transport protein along the electrochemical gradient by secondary active co-transport. The tripeptide and dipeptides are transported with aid of hydrogen ions into the enterocytes by peptide transporter 1. Some amino acids are transported by facilitated diffusion with the aid of a special membrane transport protein. The absorption occurs mainly in the duodenum and jejunum. Amino acids are further transported into blood by facilitated diffusion. Now, fat absorption. Fats are insoluble in water and immiscible in chymes. So, fat neither is absorbed as such nor is digested by lipase to fatty acid and glycerol for absorption. So, for fat digestion, emulsification of fat by different emulsifying agent is required for preparing it suitable for both digestion and absorption. And this emulsification is possible in a small intestine where bile salts and other agents are present. Bile salts themselves are relatively weaker than the mixture of bile salts and polar body. Which polar bodies? Those are the lecithin, lysolecithin, or monoglycerides as a emulsifying agent. The lipids are absorbed in form of monoglycerides and free fatty acids. The monoglycerides and free fatty acids are transported by diffusion into the microvilli of the intestinal cells in a small intestine. Monoglyceride and fatty acid with more than 14 carbons are re-esterified to triglycerides in the mucosal cells, which are then coated with a layer of beta lipoproteins, cholesterols, and phospholipids, and finally forms chylomicrons. These chylomicron contains 0.5% protein, therefore called esterified fatty acids. Chylomicrons enters the lymphatics and via thoracic ducts finally into the bloodstream. And short chain fatty acids less than 12 to 14 carbon passes directly from the mucosal cells into the venous blood capillaries and are transported as free fatty acid, also called non-esterified fatty acids. They are bound to albumin in the bloodstream. Fat absorption is greatest in the upper part of a small intestine and a small amount also absorbed from the ileum. One on moderate fat intake, more than 95% of the ingested fat is absorbed and 5 to 6% is excreted in stool. Blood fat, plasma lipids, triglyceride, free fatty acid, phospholipids, steroids are bound to plasma protein to form the lipoprotein complex. On the basis of the density, the blood fats are divided into three groups. Very low density lipoprotein, that is the VLDL, low density lipoprotein LDL, and high density lipoprotein, that is called HDL. Now the fat stores in the body. Fat is stored in adipose cells. Body adipose tissues are of two types, white and brown. White adipose tissue, it represents the biggest store of the energy in the body and helps in maintenance of free fatty acid concentration in the blood. Brown adipose tissue. It is found only in infant and has a higher metabolic rate as compared to white adipose tissue. Now the water absorption. In stomach, very little water is absorbed. A small intestine is the chief site for water absorption. The intestinal contents near the ileocecal valves contains the same proportion of water as the upper part of the jejunum, but their absolute amount is much smaller. The large intestine absorbs all the residual waters and forms solid stool. Reabsorption of water in jejunum more than 60%, in ileum 20 to 25%, and in colon 10 to 15%. The main physiochemical forces which helps in water absorptions are hydrostatic pressures, endosmosis, and osmotic pressure. Water and salts are absorbed passively and actively. During passive absorption, water and water soluble substances traverse the intestinal mucosa along the osmotic or electrochemical gradient. During active transport, water and sodium can absorb against osmotic and electrochemical gradient. Now the absorption of electrolyte. The electrolyte is absorbed by secondary active transport and facilitated diffusion all along the intestine. Chloride is secreted via gastric, intestinal, and pancreatic secretion into the lumen of intestine. The chloride is chiefly absorbed in the jejunum. In colon, the presence of chloride channels in enterocytes helps in absorption. In ileum, chloride is absorbed in exchange of bicarbonate. Now the potassium is absorbed from jejunum and ileum by passive diffusion. It is secreted and reabsorbed in the large intestine. Calcium is absorbed in presence of vitamin D, protein, and lactose. Calcium is actively absorbed from the duodenum. Next, iron. Iron is absorbed in combination with a special protein called the ferritin. Absorption of iron is promoted by ascorbic acid. The duodenum and upper jejunum are the sites of iron absorption. Iron absorbed in ferrous state, but most of dietary iron is in ferric form, which is reduced to ferrous form with the help of ascorbic acid, HCl, and ferric reductase. Thank you.